All right, jumping on to make a quick video because I have a bit of time here before I start another assignment. For now, I want to share a bit on my thoughts around this topic of treating your degree like a game, because as I'm doing more work, I'm really realizing that it is truly the way to make the process of learning more enjoyable and more streamlined and just a lot more strategic. So I'm going to share my perspective on this. If you're interested in that topic, stay tuned. So the first thing I want to say is I've been in contact with other self-college students, and many are further along. And as I've talked to them, they've disclosed kind of where they are at in the degree program. And my immediate thought was, wow, they've kind of gone to a further level than me, and I'm really impressed by that. Some of them are very close to the dissertation phase or in that phase, and I just thought, wow, they're really advanced and far along. They've leveled up for sure, and that was very inspirational for me. And then as soon as I thought, oh, I'm using game terminology, like thinking of my degree as levels or courses as levels, I guess you could say. So then what exactly is my mindset to get me thinking like my degree is a game? Well, so the first one I think of is a strategic mindset. And I set a lot of goals for myself throughout the week, throughout the month, and a lot of the time, I'm very strategic with my time. So when I sit down, I know I have a designated block of time. And so that's very much along the lines of block scheduling. If you're not familiar with it, it's very similar to how school works, is where, you have a block of time for math, a block of time for English, and I do that for school. I have a block of time, and many times I actually set myself a timer. Actually, that's not true. I don't set a timer per se, which you could do. I actually set the stopwatch to know how long it takes me, because I like to get a bit of a sense of generally my pattern of work. So does it take me an hour to generally do a paper, or does it take me 4 hours? And I actually track all of that. But within that block of time, I generally set myself goals. I sit down and I write them down. I like to see them, whether it's on a sticky note or a piece of paper. I like to see it in my own handwriting. It can be hard to set a realistic goal. So for me, I really think about, okay, where's my energy level at? Where's my discipline for this hour or however long I'm going to work in this block? And what is the actual task at hand? So I generally read the requirements or the rubric or whatever I have to read to know what I'm going to be working on before I set that goal. Then I write down my goal. It could be I'm going to finish 80% of this paper, and I'm going to find research to cite what I'm saying. So I set those goals, and I try to do my best to achieve them as if I'm kind of in a game, trying to conquer a level, see if I can make it. So part of this is, do you have a game interest or do you have a competitive interest? I actually have a pretty competitive personality with myself. I like to set myself goals and see if I can actually tackle them. Another part of this game type mindset is really being actively engaged in it. And so, I don't just try to grind out the task and think about how I really don't want to do the next one, or thank goodness I'm done that task. I try to be interested and motivated and engaged. And so I've talked about this in other videos, but I like to talk to people about what I'm writing about, whether it's a partner or a friend or even just myself. I'll actually journal a little bit about what I'm going to write about to kind of pique my interest. I'll read about what I'm going to write about. I'll watch a video on what I'm going to write about to get myself in an active, engaged mindset. I find if I kind of get myself primed on a topic or get myself thinking about a topic ahead of time, it kind of builds my confidence and my competence to go do an exercise around it. And then in turn, it kind of builds my engagement. Another piece to this is that I see the whole degree as growth and exploration. I don't just see it as a means to an end, and that hopefully one day I'll finish this degree fast so I never have to think about school again. I can get a better job afterwards that will, put me in a different level of happiness in my life. I don't see it as that. I see the whole process of school as an exploration, as growth. So I try to constantly think about what I'm actually doing that is allowing for that growth. So for me, in a doctoral degree, it's a lot of writing. In this first course, I have 26 tasks, and most of those tasks are paper related. And so I'm thinking about how I'm constantly improving my writing skills, which I am, and I'm actually rereading my writing to kind of show myself, wow, you accomplished a lot. And then when you get this feedback from your instructors, because at South College, they almost always reply to every single assignment you've made, I kind of read those positive remarks and I let them sink in and I let them really fuel myself and kind of allow myself to feel that growth. And then there's times where maybe you get an assignment turned back and I kind of think, oh, okay, what can I learn from this? So maybe, I didn't set up my APA paper properly because, for example, nowadays APA version 7 or whatever you want to call it, they don't do running heads. Or, for example, maybe I forget to put a title page on my paper. I like to think of that as not an obstacle, but like, oh, okay, I'm going to learn from that. I'm going to gain that skill or gain that detail so that I can improve my APA citation next time. I know this seems really mundane, like who cares about APA, but when you're at a doctoral level or even master's level, these things matter because you're doing a lot of academic writing. But think about what you're actually improving upon. For me, a lot of the times, it's actually my mind. I'm actually developing a more critical view of things because I'm having to parse a topic and explain my response and sometimes even my critique to a response in a very well thought out way or well crafted articulation of that thinking that I have. Another piece of this game mindset is I think about people who play games. There's a certain level of perseverance. So like, let's say you're doing a game and there's a boss and that you fail the boss or whatever. You don't pass it the first time. To what extent, are you going to just put down the controller and stop and move away if it's like a video game? Or is it something that you're going to try to persevere with? And so sometimes what's important is to keep trying over and over so that you can build this confidence or build this skill at doing better. And for me, I do that all the time with school. And I think that school really excites me for that reason, is that it can be very hard to motivate yourself to do work in a consistent way. But this ongoing perseverance to kind of do assignments maybe every day or a couple times a week, or to continue to do assignments even when you get negative feedback, builds this confidence within you. So basically, it's kind of like, how can you let challenges boost you or motivate you rather than get in your way? And I think for me, there's a certain excitement around having what I call a fierce mindset, which is basically not letting things shut you down. Of course, there are times when you want to take a break and you need to detach, but I try not to let that happen right away. I try not to let myself get really discouraged if I get negative feedback or maybe not a pass right away. So to me, that fierce mindset is very much this perseverance where I want to try to do my best and continue to kind of build this strong mind to keep myself moving forward, even if it's not easy. So anyways, that's kind of what I want to share today. If you feel like you see your degree as a game as well, I'd be curious if you have any other thoughts on this topic, and you can leave those below. Otherwise, I hope to share more videos on my journey at South College, the Doctoral of Education, and stay tuned for that journey, and I hope to see you in another video.